out when was it Elisha or was it Elijah was on the scene. He pretty much said that what? Look, Lord, they coming to take my life, man. I'm the only one left. And the Lord said, look, now I reserved a remnant unto myself that I haven't bowed the knee to Baal. And the same thing is in right now. Here it is, you got this totally wicked society, okay, where you switch on the TV, it's wickedness. Okay, you go into a restaurant, it's wickedness. Okay, let's switch on the radio, it's wickedness, man. Okay, a totally wicked society. They don't maintain the Sabbath, the land Sabbath. No laws is maintained within the society, but it's called a so-called Christian society, which is completely. There's nothing Christian about this society. There's nothing biblical about this society. They're totally wicked. But even in that, the Most High said He wasn't going to utterly destroy the house of Jacob because He was going to leave a remnant, man. That's why the scripture says that blessed is he in whom is not imputed iniquity. Because here it is, you was born into iniquity, you was born into sin, you exist in a sinful kingdom, and yet the Most High had it to where what? That your iniquity was going to be blotted out, because from the foundations of the earth, you was going to be what? You was predestined to be of the elect. And that's who the Most High was going to raise up in the last days. That's who you're seeing out here on YouTube, okay, loading up videos, okay, and breaking down the truth of the scriptures, man. That's the remnant that the Most High was dealing with. And that's what the scripture's going to say right here, man. Okay? It says, for lo, I will command and I'll sift the house of Israel from among our own nations. Because we talked about the covering cast of all of these nations, and how all of these different people don't know who their true heritage is. Okay? But the Most High was going to sift them by way of this word. He's going to sift out Israel, okay, from among all of these nations. So you're going to have a Moabite, okay, that's actually or rather more Chinese looking Jacob, okay, and by way of hearing this word, he was going to be sifted out of that madness, man, and he's going to come back onto the full knowledge of who he is, okay. That's why the scripture we're talking about, there's no difference between the Jew and the Greek, because all of them were Israelites, man, okay. For lo, I will command, and I'll sift the house of Israel from among all nations like corn sifted in the sieve. There shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. Okay? It says, all the sinners of my people shall die by the sword. So here it is, you got it to where the Most High saying all the wickedness within the 8th verse, saying the eyes of the Lord power upon the sinful kingdom, and He was going to destroy from off the face of the earth. But now He goes on further into talking about His own people, His heritage, which is the 12 tribes of Israel, and how all the sinners of His people was going to be destroyed by way of what? By way of the sword, man. Okay? Right? That say the evil shall not overtake us, nor prevent us. That's what we're reading out there within the book of 2 Peter, the 3rd chapter. Okay, saying, where is the promise of His coming? Okay, because that is the sentiment, the spirit that Esau pushes out there. He pushes out there the spirit of, oh, no, you're just all right. You'll be all right if you do whatever you want. The Most High is love. But when you go into the definition of what love is in accordance to the scriptures, you find out that love within accordance to the scriptures is the keeping of the commandments of Yahweh Shem Yahshai, man. Not to just do whatever you want. That's against the scriptures. Okay? So it says here, the evil shall not overtake us, nor prevent us. Okay, in that day will I in this day, okay? In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I'll raise up his ruins, which is what the Yahweh Shem Yahshai is doing in the spiritual sense right now. Because we are a spiritual temple before the physical temple is made. Okay, the house of Israel is a people before it's a place. Okay, so you're looking at Jerusalem and you're looking at people that live there, and you're saying those are the Israelites because they live in Israel. But the scriptures talk about how the Israel is a people before it is a place. So wherever the people are, okay, that's where Jerusalem was going to be, man. Okay, now you go into where Jerusalem is raising up on the spiritual sense out there on YouTube, out there with brothers congregating together and chopping up this good word, man. Okay, so let's carry on here and finish this up. It says, in that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, okay, and I'll close up the breaches thereof, and I'll raise up his ruins, and I'll build him as in the days of old. So you can read about that within the book of Ezekiel, the 36th chapter, how the Most High in the latter times, in the last days, was going to raise up the tabernacle of David, okay, the house of David, okay, and pretty much really set up the whole 12 tribes of Israel back within their own land. And when they was going to be set up within their own land, the whole earth was going to be just at peace, man. So the question that you really naturally should have after reading that within the book of Ezekiel, the 36th chapter, is that, well, hold on a minute. I've been told all my life the people out there within Jerusalem are the real Jews. Okay, they've been out there in the land of Israel since it was in 1970, since the Balfour Declaration. Okay, and people are not at peace. Matter of fact, when you look at all the wars and who benefits from the wars and hence who causes all of those different wars, you find out there's a so-called Jew behind every war, man. Okay, since the time of Alexander being on the scene, because there's good reason to believe that he was of the tribe of Amalek. Okay, he was of the nation of Amalek. You've just had nothing but unrest when these Edomites were on power. So from the from the time of the Greeks, okay, right up until the end of the Roman Empire, and then you had it to where you had somewhat peace. Okay, save you had infighting between the Israelites when they was ruling Europe. Okay, but you had somewhat peace, and then you had the resurgence of this Bourgeois family around about the 1600s, and when they came up on the scene, you've had nothing but just war. Okay, because the scripture talks about how the blessing of Esau is the sword. So how do you think he was going to rule the empire? How do you think he was going to rule the world when he had power over it? He was going to rule it by the sword. Okay, so now you got it to where what? Okay, Esau's blessing is a sword. Okay, Amalek is of Esau, so they're going to be the top dogs at that sword, man. Okay, they're going to be just using that sword every chance that they get to use that sword. So how was peace going to be established upon the earth when you got it to where the Amalekites out there within Jews? It wasn't going to be established, man. It was going to be just war, okay, up until the real Israelites, okay, the real people of the Most High was going to be made manifest. They was going to go into their land, and then peace was going to be restored within the earth. Matter of fact, when you read the scriptures, it could be within the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter. I forget the exact placement of the scriptures. But when you read the Bible, as it pertains to the post-World War III, and Israel set up on high. Okay, the Israelites, the real Israelites are set up on high. The scripture goes as far as saying they shall bend their swords into plowshares and etc. etc. They wasn't going to learn of war anymore. But we're still in that time where war is the biggest business right now. Okay, and it's led by the so-called Jews. So those can't be the people of the Most High that are within the land of Israel right now. And that's all pertaining to the book of Ezekiel, the 36th chapter. Now let's go back onto the book of Obadiah, which I had started a little bit earlier. And this is now the second verse. It says, I've made thee small amongst the heathen, thou art greatly despised. And we see how America, Babylon, is viewed within these different countries. They're greatly despised, man. Okay, they're greatly despised. Because when you're not England, okay, or the so-called Western world that quote-unquote benefits, okay, from America, then you're really at a massive disadvantage, okay, if you're not in the so-called inner circle of the American way of doing things. I believe that's what they have the thing called the special relationship. Now you got to where you got Germany out there. Germany's doing pretty good because they got manufacturing, okay? Now you got into where you got England right now. Their economy is dwindling because you outsource all your so-called manufacturing. Okay, so the only thing that you can bring forth to the table is war. The same thing applies for the American government. Now, America still got some type of manufacturing, but the vast majority of it has been outsourced out there to China. Okay, so the only thing that they can sell is war. So they're out there making deals with the Saudi Arabians, okay, and all of these different Middle Eastern countries for oil, okay, and hence the petrodollar, and hence the dominance of the dollar, okay, throughout the four corners of the earth. Okay, and they're doing those deals based on what? Protection and military protection and so on and so forth. But if they're protecting these so-called Western allies, if so you can understand, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and so on and so forth, these so-called Western allies, who are these so-called allies fighting against? Okay, they're fighting against these so-called littler nations, China and Japan, all of these different countries, okay, Iran, Russia. So they're all getting the short end of the stick, and therefore, as a result, the so-called Western world, but principally Babylon and principally you Edomites, are greatly despised amidst all of these nations. And ultimately, even these so-called allies that you have, okay, they greatly despise you too. Because in the inception of these so-called gold-backed yuan, okay, and then the bilateral trades that are happening between Russia and China, and now subsequently Pakistan, you got it to where you got the interests of these so-called allies is shifting towards the east, okay? So they're now are in a position where they can express their so-called despise and their disdain for the West, man. Because here it is, you might have Saudi Arabia, and they might be allies of the so-called American government. But if they weren't allies, they was going to be enemies. So they had no choice but to sign up with the OPEC nations. Okay, now we sell oil by the, now we sell oil by the dollar. Okay, But see, now you go to where they go a so-called option that's going to be better for their own country. They're going to take that option, man. And they're going to become enemies to the so-called West. That's why when you read the latter part of these scriptures, what does it say, man? It says all their people that are at that confederacy have deceived thee. They have laid a wound underneath thee. Because they might be doing deals with you and you're happy right now and face to face is all good. But behind closed doors, they're saying, look, man, this man is the devil. Okay, we got to get rid of this man. And that's talking about you Edomites that are in rulership right now. Okay, you so-called elite banking, your so-called banking elite, okay, you're greatly despised within the earth. And the Most High is going to have to where you're going to be removed from the earth, but you're going to be a new rulership in the 12 tribes of Israel that's going to be within righteousness, man. Okay, so let's go back onto the scriptures right here within the 3rd verse. It says, the pride of thy heart has deceived thee, because they think their continuing thought is their house, their continuing thought is that their house is going to be set up forever. That's the thinking of these elite. Okay, they thinking that, okay, now we're going to set this up for our children in 100 years, and we're going to set this up for our children in 300 years. Okay, we're going to put this new world order agenda in place, and in 400 years from now, this is what the earth is going to look like. That's why you have movies like Elysium. Okay, because these are supposed to be depictions of how the earth was going to be, okay, in the time when these so-called banking elites, okay, have set up their so-called new world order and time has been allowed to pass. But see, that's a deception, okay, that's pride within their own house, because the Most High set up the bounds of his time that he was going to rule, okay, and after that, he had to take them out. Matter of fact, the scriptures talk about, let's go to the book of Revelation, was it 12th chapter? I think it's within the book of Revelations, the 12th chapter. We just try to quickly find the correct precept. Right, so this is Revelation 12:12. It says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, ye that dwell there in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil, which is Esau, is come down having great wrath, knowing he hath a short time. So even though they're setting up for their own pride, they're setting up these so-called dynasties and this so-called new world order thing, but the ultimate end-all be-all of that is this. They're doing that in haste because they know they have a short time, man. Okay, they're quickly trying to set up this thing up and have it to where the truth is removed out of the earth, but it's going to be to no avail, man. Okay, so you can't go up against what the Most High has set up. And one of the things that he has set up is that you was going to rise up within the earth. Okay, you was going to rule with all deceivableness. And you was going to be removed from the earth, man. Okay, so going back onto the book of Obadiah now, Obadiah, the 3rd chapter, the 3rd verse rather, it says, the pride of thine heart has deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. Who's that talking about? Okay, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? And that's the sentiment of Esau. His thing is like, who's going to bring me down to the ground? Who's going to fight up against who's going to fight up against the United States Army? Who's going to come up against and make war against NATO? You wouldn't think about it. And that's how they rule these nations right now. But the scripture also has a balancing precept to that, in that the scripture says that our love become as weak as we. Because as far as these different countries are concerned now, they got air defense missiles by way of Russia. Okay, they're building up their so-called nuclear arsenals, so now they're having it to where they're on a balanced, if not army, artillery scale as America. Okay, with first strike policies and this, that, and the third. They're getting all that to even out the so-called playing field that you had out there, the differences that you had out there between the United States and these different countries that they had in subjection, man. Okay, so here it is, their sentiment for the longest was who's going to bring them down to the ground, and now these nations are having it to where they built themselves out, and they're saying, oh, thou become as weak as we. Now you can read about that within the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter. Okay, it says, his habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Okay, it says, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou nest amongst the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. So when the Most High had it to where he set up them chariots, and they went out there, and they sent their so-called spaceships out there to the moon, and they so-called sent their spaceships and their satellites into the skies, that was the pinnacle of Esau's power. Okay, that was the precipice of his rulership. Okay, because ever since that, they've just been on a downward spiral, okay, into the abysmal darkness, okay? They just been on the downward spiral, okay, into just being removed from the earth, man. Matter of fact, when you look at the music was good when they did that, man. Okay, food was great, Okay, America was good. They had hella money, man. You had it to where a man could have it to where he's just got all of his so-called family, okay, taken care of for that one paycheck that he has. You know, taking weeks out of the year going on holiday because what? America was doing good. But ever since they sent them spaceships out there into the skies in around about 1970s, they just been on a downward spiral, man. And things just getting worse. Okay, people got more cancer. Okay, people are realizing more that this guy is the devil and he's the reason why they have cancer. Okay, he's got so-called environmentalists now. They're bringing out all kind of dirt up on this man and how these different corporations put poisons within people's food. Okay, so because part of a major part of his power was his deception. Okay, that's why you had a thing called the Illuminati. That's why you had a thing called Freemasonry. Okay, that's why you had a thing called the banking elite or the shadow elite, because they ruled through secrecy. Okay, but ever since they sent them spaceships out there, okay, and they've been going down on a downward spiral into the abysmal darkness, you had it to where all kind of information is being brought out about the agendas of the banking elite. Okay, how they want to sterilize you so they can depopulate the earth. So they have your women taking all types of pills, man. Okay, this is all part of Esau's power structure being destroyed, man. Okay. So let's go back onto the book of Obadiah now. It says, though that exalt thyself as the eagle, and what country, what people, okay, use the symbol of the eagle, okay, to represent themselves. Okay, you go back onto the so-called the Republic of Rome and the Kingdom and the Roman Empire. They used the eagle to represent themselves. When they so-called landed out there on the moon, what did they say? They said the eagle was landed because this was the same Roman Empire coming back again. Matter of fact, when you read about the history and the prophecy that was dealing with the 12 tribes of Israel and how the 12 tribes of Israel was going to be taken down, it says a nation that was going to come as swift as an eagle was going to take you down and take you into another land, roughly paraphrasing. So this nation that is as swift as an eagle, that is synonymous with the eagle here, okay, is going to be talking about these Edomites, man. And the scripture says that what? Although thou exalt thyself as the eagle, okay, and though thou set thy nest amongst the stars, thence will I bring thee down. Okay, so it says here, if thieves came to thee, right, or robbers by night, how thou cut off, will they have not stolen till they had enough? Okay, and you can read about that within the book of Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. Okay, because this man enlarges his desires as hell. It can never be satisfied. So when you have it to where a thief came, right, and he took some grapes off of your land, or he took some resource off of you, man, the thief ain't just gonna take everything. But Esau's gonna go up. He's just gonna take everything: land, okay, trees, air, all that. Okay, you look at Afghanistan, Iran. Oh, not Iran, sorry. Afghanistan, Iraq. Okay, when they rolled up into Afghanistan and Iraq, they took everything, man. Okay, they took all the oil resources. Okay, they took the opium resources. Okay, they took control of that country and they made that country their own, because if this man is the devil, man. Okay, he is not satisfied with just so-called vengeance. He's not satisfied with so-called just acquiring whatever, trading. Okay, fairly trading. He goes the thing called so-called fair trade out here. If it was so-called fair trade, then these different countries out here, like the so-called Cuba or Venezuela, they'll be up in their so-called business, man. Okay. But these so-called corporations, again, like the set up their so-called businesses out there, okay, and pay the people out there next to nothing, okay, and they take everything that they have out there, they take everything that's naturally growing within their backyard, okay, and leave the people with nothing. But it's so-called fairly traded. That's the sentiment of this person. That's why the scripture also said that what? He was greatly despised, man. He's greatly despised because his manner, his rulership has been in total wickedness. Okay, so back within the book of Obadiah, and this is the 5th verse. It says, "Would they have not stolen till they have enough? If great gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes?" Okay, well, how are the things of Esau searched out, and that's what we're doing right here, man. That's why you got a big thing of the truth coming out here now, okay? And you can read about that within the book of Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter, how the righteous shall stand in great boldness before the face of such as afflicted them. That's talking about the elect of Yahweh Shemi Shai bringing out this word, okay? Because the Messiah was going to set up his prophets in the last days, and they was going to be teaching this word, man. Okay, they was going to be revealing the secrets of the scriptures. Okay, because the Most High, when you read the scriptures, the Bible, the scripture says that what? The Most High revealeth these secrets unto his prophets. So whether it be a secret mystery of the scriptures like the virgin birth, or whether you should be into this Christmas thing, okay, those things are going to be revealed unto the elect, okay, the priests, okay, the prophets of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, okay, but also to the mysteries that's pertaining to who the wicked were, how the wicked was going to rule, what Babylon is, who rules Babylon. Because you read Isaiah the 13th chapter, which I may or may not get, this is talking about the burden of Babylon, and that was supposed to be presented unto the king of Babylon. Okay, when you're reading about Isaiah the 13th chapter on the 14th chapter, this is talking about the burden that was going to come upon Babylon, man. Of which those chapters really they go hand in hand. Because here it is, you got it to where the Most High was going to raise up a tumultuous noise and destroy Babylon, and the end all be all of that within the 14th chapter. It says that the Most High wasn't going to utterly destroy Jacob, but he would yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined unto them. So are dispersed, which really was talking about the latter times. We read about that within the book of Joel, the 2nd chapter on the 31st verse. Okay, but the dispersed of our people, the so-called outcasts of the 12 tribes of Israel, was going to be grafted back in. Okay, and in so being grafted back in, okay, it's going to become one righteous lump, and that was all happening as the destruction of Babylon was taking place, man. Okay, but all of these are mysterious things. These are mysterious secrets within the scriptures, of which are only given unto what? Unto the sanctified, man. Okay, unto the people that were preordained to understand those things, right from the foundation of the earth. That's who those secrets is going to be revealed unto. But more specifically to the point, who Esau is, how he maneuvers, how he rules. Okay, all of those things are being searched out. Not only are you having it to where the Most High is releasing all of this information by way of the prophets, you also got a thing of so-called truthers out there, okay, that are pushing a certain agenda out there in revealing this, man. Now you had it to where Aaron Russo, he was in the so-called circle of these banking elites. He came out with all types of information about how these so-called Illuminati